Okay, I thought we'd try something a little different tonight. We've been talking a lot about using different chord shapes up and down the fretboard, and I thought tonight, to make it simple, we'll stick with one chord. We're going to use the G chord and show you different ways to play the G chord, both here at the first position and also up and down the neck. Also some ways you can kind of do some fills with some of the G stuff as well. So we'll take a look at all that tonight and just kind of have it in there for you. Okay, so the basic G chord, of course, is this or this. So you got 3 2 0 0 0 3. Played either this way or this way. All right. Okay, you can cheat. You can play the 3rd fret on E and play the top 3 or 4 strings with it. And that's a fine G. Remember, a major chord only needs the first, 3rd, and 5th notes of the scale to make it. So that's a G chord right there. All right, another way you can play the G chord is if you play it this way and then add take your little finger on high E at 3 and then have your ring play a B at 3. So you got 3 2 0 0 3 3. Okay, so that's another way you can play it. Of course, you can play it like an F. You can play a 3-string F, slide it up, and you can play 4 3 3, and that's a G. Or you can add the 4th finger here, so you got 5 4 3 3. Or you can do a full bar and do 3 5 5 4 3 3. So those are G's as well. Okay, and while we're in first position, sometimes for little fills, you can play what they call double stops. In other words, 2 notes at the same time. Now, it's not a full chord, but it's nice for transitions, or sometimes you just want to have a bit of a chord. So on this one, you can play the 4 on G and the 3 on E, and just play those 2 notes. And that gives you a hint of a G. So, like for example, in Brown Eyed Girl, this is what Van Morrison uses. Okay, so he uses that form there. G, 4, and E3. Okay, another form of the same thing is you can use G4 and B3 and don't play the high E. Or pinch that. So just those 2 notes there. So those are some different ways you can kind of get a hint of a G. Sometimes you don't need to play the full G in order to get a sound of it. Okay, you can also just play the middle GB and or D, G, and B strings. That's a G chord. Okay, so that'll work. All those will go. All right, let's look at another form of the G. Let's use a D shape and move it up to the 7th fret. So here we have 7 8 7. So it's a D shape. We move up to 7 8 7. That's a G chord. Okay, so that's a G there. We could play just the 8 on the B and the 7 on the E. Get a little bit of a hint of a G. We could play the 7 on the G and the 7 on the E. Pinch those 2, and that becomes a G chord as well. That's part of that Brown Eyed Girl. Okay, so that just those 2 there. Or you can also play a little fancier one. If you bar across the 7th fret on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings, use your 2nd finger to play the D, or play the B on the 8th fret. So I get 7 8 7, just like this, but I'm using 2 fingers instead of 3. That frees my ring up, and I can play the 9th on the D. So I got 9 7 8 7. So it gives you a little fuller chord. It's like a cheater C. Okay, here's a cheater C, and if I move that up here on the 7th fret, that's kind of a G chord there. Okay, so that's a G as well. So far we got the basic open chord G here at the 3rd fret. We got the 7th fret with a D shape. All right, another G we can play is at the 12th fret. We can play 12 on G, 12 on B, and 10 on E. So it's 10, 10, 12, and that's a G chord. That's a G. Okay, we can also just play the 12 on B and the 10th on E. You could also play open G and the 12th on B and the 10th on E. That sounds nice too, and that's kind of a G. Okay, you can also play G12 and E10, or E10. Pinch those two. Okay, so we got this. We've got this. We've got, with the open G, we have this. And we had this on G12 and E10. Okay, and one other one that you can put in there that sounds real, it's a nice way to end a song, especially a romantic song that you're playing nice and slow, is bar either the D, G, and B, or if that's too much, just bar the G and the B at 12 and add your little finger or your ring finger. Little finger is what I use at 15. That's the next dot down. So you got 12, 12, 15. That's a really nice way to end that chord. Or you can even play the open D and get a nice ring tone that way. So that's a nice ending chord. I like to use that when I finish up on a slow ballad or love song when I'm playing in G. Okay, so that's at the 12th fret. Okay, and now let's look at for different variations of G back here, different voicings for G. We talked about this one. We talked about adding the D, or the, well, it's a D note, it's the B3. So that one can be played that way. All right, there's one common one that's used a lot in folk music. It's called the G/B, which means you're going to play a form of a G chord, but you're going to add a B as the bass instead of the G note. So you're going to play A at 2, then 0 D, 0 G, and B3. So you're going to play those. Or sometimes somebody will pinch them. Or you can strum it. So that's a GB chord. Okay, that's a common one that's used quite a bit. Okay, another one is a power chord G. A power chord is the bass note, like if you're playing a power G. Or a G5, sometimes they'll call it a G5. What you're playing is the root note and the fifth note. So on this one we're playing the root here of the G would be E at 3, that's a G. And then if I add my ring finger to A at 5, that is a D. So I'm playing G and D. So that's a nice bassy kind of a way to play a G, nice simple G. Okay. All right, G7, we have a G7 here, so that's 320001. All right, a variation of that is to play 3, 2, 3. So I've got a little 3, 2, 3. So I've got 3, 2, 3 down here on the bottom 3 strings, and then 0, 0, 1 at the top. So it sounds like this. And that's going to be a G7 as well. All right, there's another one. It's a G6. Neil Young kind of uses this one. It's E3, block the A string, play D2, and then open G, open B, and then E3. That's called a G6 actually, because the E is the 6th note of the G scale. Now what he'll do, in fact, in our song this week, Sugar Mountain, he alternates between that. He plays. So he just plays a 2-finger G here, 3 block the A, and then 0, 0, 0, 3. And then he'll put his finger down on D at 2 and play that. That's a nice way to play that. And then we have a G minor. The G minor, if you take your F sharp minor, which is at the 2nd fret, you bar G, B, and E. If you slide that up to the 3rd fret, that's a G minor. Now G major sounds like this. And the minor is that. that. So here's the difference. Now if you want to add more to that minor, you can play 5 on the D and then 3, 3, 3. Or you can add all the way across. You can go 3, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3. And that's a G minor chord. Okay, so there's some variations on the G chord. Put those in once in a while when you're playing a G chord. Just try those out. Just play something a little different. Like on Sugar Mountain again, Neil plays, sometimes when he's playing the G, he'll play it up here. He'll play the... Sometimes he'll play it up here. Okay, so it's worth some experimenting. So I thought if we just slow it down a little bit, put in one chord at a time, give you some ideas on what to do with different forms of the G chord. All right, hope you like that, and I'll see you Tuesday.